Hey, Richard Beach here from Sonic State Amp, that's Sonic's guitar channel. Today I'm looking at the Vox G2 Nitrane series. This is the new generation of Vox Nitrane amplifiers. And I have the 15 watt head, which is a very beautiful tiny little amplifier sat on top of my Dragoon cab right here. So what's new? Well, we've got digital reverb, which is nice. We've got two channels. So we've got the bright channel, which is basically our clean channel, just a gain knob, and also a switch that says thick. If you engage this, it gives you kind of more crunch in the mid-range, a bit more of a classic rock sound. And then we go into our girth channel, just a gain and a volume knob. The reason we don't have EQ on these two channels is because there is a master 3-band EQ which affects both channels. You can see in the middle we've got basically a channel selector which goes between the clean and the distortion channel. And then on the end, our little master section, so our reverb knob and the volume knob, and then a little switch that says dark. This affects both channels. So if you're on the clean channel or on the distortion channel, it does the same thing. It basically gives you a bit more bottom end, also tightens the sound a little bit and squashes it, compresses it to my ears anyway. So if you want those really high gain sounds when you're on the distortion channel, then that's basically what you can go for. Round the back, we have an effects loop, which is quite handy if you're wanting to run pedals into this. And then we have a 16 ohm speaker output and two 8 ohm outputs. So you can either just run a single 8 ohm using that, or you can run up to two speaker cabs if you want to do that as well using 8 ohm impedance. So in terms of tubes, we have three 12AX7s in the preamp, and in the power stage, we have two EL84s. On the 50 watt version of this amp, you have two EL34s, but obviously with a 15 watt amp, you want it to break up slightly quicker. And the 84's nice for that Vox sound as well, so a good set of tubes for a 15 watt amp. That's pretty much it. It also comes with a matching speaker cab that we're not using today. We're using our House Dragoon 2x12 cab, which has Celestion Vintage 30 speakers, our standard SE Electronics Voodoo VR1 ribbon mic that we use for all reviews. In terms of the guitars I'll be using today, I want to show what this can sound like with a range of guitars, because I've played around with this amp, heard it at NAMM, and I think that actually it's quite forgiving on any kind of pickup. You can really get high gain tones out of it using humbuckers, and you can get some really nice spanky clean tones using sort of like a Fender Strat or a Tele. So I'm using my Gibson Les Paul with P90s. This is a 50s tribute. I also have an Orville licensed Gibson Les Paul with humbuckers. I have a Fender Telecaster as well, so you can hear what it sounds like with that. And finally, a Taylor solid body custom guitar, which is a double cutaway, 3 single coil pickups in a Strat configuration. I basically use that as my Stratocaster for all intents and purposes. It is a Strat. A very posh one in a ridiculously garish colour at that though. So what I want to do is basically show the range of tones this amp can get, and I guess we'll be kind of measuring this against as an acid test, we'll be seeing what it sounds like up against something like a Tiny Terror or a Dark Terror. This has more options in those amplifiers, but does it sound as good? That's basically what we're trying to answer today. That's what we're going to do. So first of all then, let's hear what it sounds like on a clean channel with the Gibson Les Paul with P90s. Okay, now I'm going to put the thick switch on so you can hear what that sounds like. Put a bit more reverb on there so you can hear what that sounds like. I'm also going to reel back the bass slightly. So nice punchy tone with P90s. Let's hear what it sounds like with a Telecaster. Okay, and now let's try a Gibson Les Paul with humbuckers. I'm just going to put the dark switch on so you can hear what that sounds like. And now let's go on to the thick mode with that as well. Okay, I'm not going to push it harder for now. I'll just show what it sounds like with the Taylor, but I will do something in a second which is in between the clean and the high gain, so we'll do some classic crunch sounds. For now though, here is the Taylor. Okay, I'm just going to turn the reverb up because I think it sounds nice, really nice with this guitar actually. Right, so let's just crank the gain up a little bit now. I'm going to be on the thick setting on the bright channel. Gain all the way up. I'm going to have to make up for that on the volume knob on the master channel. Let's get a bit of, rid of a bit of that reverb. I'm not going dark just yet, but what I will do is reel off some of that mid. Okay, so I magically have a Les Paul in my hands now. I think what I'm going to try and show is that the level of crunch you can get from the clean channel on this isn't as much as you can possibly get from the 50 watt version. But here we go. So here's what we get. We're maxed out now with humbuckers, so this should be quite crunchy. It sounds cool, nice and classic, but I think we'll go to the next channel and see what happens there. So let me just get the volumes right. So this is when it really, really begins to wail, and just let's give it a bit more distortion on this, I think. So here we go. Right, let's try it with some P90s. So let's try it now then with Telecaster on some high gain sounds. And obviously we are going to go much higher gain than this, namely with the Untitled Les Paul, but I just want to show everything that this amp can do, because it is quite a lot actually for a 15 watt amplifier. If you're playing a Tele, you're not going to be going for massively high gain sounds, but in case you're interested, here's what it sounds like. So actually for a Telecaster, that's not awful on a high gain sound at all. It actually sounds quite convincing. Let's plug a Stratocaster type guitar into it and see what that sounds like. Right, so I'm just going to make up for some of the, like I was saying earlier, you get a lot of harmonic overtones. They sound beautiful. I'm just cutting a bit of the treble just to make up for that. Staying on the dark switch, and I am going to push the gain about that far. Don't need any reverb at first. Let's go for something a bit more pop punky. And then let's just max it out. Oh, we're almost already maxed out. I'll just put the volume all the way up as well on the girth channel. Bit more treble this time. Bit of reverb. I know this song isn't played on a Strat, but I'm going to play it on a Strat anyway. Okay, so I'm going to go for a bit more, perhaps late 80s hard rock sound, drown in reverb, put a bit more treble and bass onto this on the EQ, just got the mid at noon. Let's see what this sounds like. Just going to push the reverb a bit harder. If it sounds terrible, we'll make adjustments. Now I'm going to go a bit more modern, sleep it even more, keeping the dark settings and reeling the reverb off a little bit. Okay, so time for a roundup. Is it worth the money? I have to tell you how much it costs first. So it's $499 in the US and £450 in the UK. The cab that comes with it, $250 in the US. This is a 1x12 cab with a sort of custom-made Vox Celestion greenback speaker. And in the UK, that's £200. So 250 US, £200 in the UK. So obviously the first thing that strikes you if you're from the UK is that our US cousins get a better deal on that one, but we kind of get used to that over here, so it's not too annoying. In terms of putting this amp up against its competitors, you've got amps like the Dark Terror from Orange, which doesn't have as much in the way of features. I'd say it has slightly more aggression on the Dark Terror, on the distortion sound. This is a more polished, kind of saturated distortion tone, and I think it's kind of, you know, for 80s hard rock stuff, for modern metal, I think it's quite flexible. I think there's a lot you can do with it. Just the general spectrum from clean to high gain, it's huge. There's really not much that you can't do with this amplifier, and it's only 15 watts as well. So you can get a lot of distortion out of it without having to crank it up really loud. So yeah, for my money, it is worth it. I'd prefer if it was slightly cheaper in the UK, but I can always just get one of my US friends to smuggle it on the plane next time they come over here. So yeah, I think Vox have done a good job on this one. Obviously try it out for yourself and just see what you think. I'd say the only downside, and this is a very small thing, there is quite a loud, well, not loud, but there is a fan in the amplifier that I can hear right now. It's slightly distracting. I don't think you would pick it up on recordings, but you know, it's just not an ideal thing to have. Other than that, everything's perfect. So thank you for watching my review of the Vox G2 Night Train 15 watt head. That was a bit of a mouthful. Please come back again to Sonic State for more reviews at sonicstate.com/amp. That's our guitar section. If you've been there before, you'll know the features, reviews, demos, everything you could possibly want as a guitarist. So hopefully I'll see you again next time. Cheers.